Thank you, brother.
Hi, my name is Clarence Prevost. I'm in San Seminole. I would like to introduce Mr. Prevost.
Thank you all. Good morning to you. And you can do no better thing today than to recognize the men and women who have represented you here and home and abroad. So thank you. Before I begin my talk here, about 10, 15 minutes at most, because I want to give Mr. Matt all the time he needs to speak. I have to run over to the Seminole campus, to the Shawnee campus right after this. I am an employee at Gordon Cooper Technology Center. I've been an employee for almost 20 years here, but I want to also preface this by saying I'm a retired Navy officer with 23 years of service to my country. My family history goes back to World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, Desert Shield, and Storm. And I have relatives that are currently serving proudly on active duty. So I think it qualifies me to say I know a little bit about patriotism. I know a little bit about the honoring of our nation's flag. That being said, it has been my observation that when the flag is presented, our military services come up front and center. You think about our military prowess and you think about the power that we have militarily in this country. And I am too grateful to be and honored to be part of the best military that this world has ever seen, and the best military in this world's history. However, I do believe I see more than just a symbol of a military machine when I look at the flag. I see a lot more than that. I remember when I was on active duty in the country of Kuwait. I was walking past a citizen of that country who took his hand and just waved his hand across the flag that was on my shoulder. And he quoted freedom. Just used one word. He said freedom. And I gave thought to what he said. After I thought about what he said, I said, out of all the bullets, the bombs, the missiles, and the planes and ships that we have that outnumber everyone in the world, the most powerful weapon we have in this country is our freedom. The most powerful weapon we can use is the freedoms that we have here in this country, and the strongest weapon we have. And that's what every foreign citizen sees in the United States. They see the most powerful weapon we have in our arsenal is our freedoms that we have in this country. It is the freedoms we have to do and to be anything that our abilities and our resources allow us to do. That's what people want when you see us. That's what people see when you see the flag. They don't see the bombs, the bullets, the planes. They see the freedom we have. And that's the most awesome thing we have in our arsenal. And it's that burning desire that every citizen has in this country, and that's burning desire that every citizen of another country would like to see here in their own country. But that Kuwaiti citizen reminded me of something. He reminded me of the most powerful weapon we have in our arsenal, and that is freedom. And I want to tell you as young people, don't allow anyone to take that from you. Don't allow anyone to even look at you from a different aspect than one who has freedoms. And when that flag is presented, it represents a whole lot of things in this country. But when I look at the flag, I see a lot more than just the stars and stripes. I see the school teacher working tirelessly, building our future citizens. I see the stay-at-home moms and the single moms working tirelessly to raise a family, to make life easier. I see factory workers making things better, making things easier for us to have an easier life. I see carpenters, I see nurses, I see coaches, I see healthcare workers, I see cashiers, I see custodians, I see councilmen, I see bankers, I see all races, creeds, and colors, and cultures all working together to make this machine work that we call America. I see us all coming together, all who make and keep this nation great. And it takes a team to do that. No one individual should take it. No one individual can take credit for it, right? And so even those gifts that God has simply given us to bring joy to the others' lives. And so when we see ourselves in the flag, we should see something bigger than ourselves. When we see ourselves in the flag, we should see more than the world even sees it, because we're here enjoying the freedoms that are offered in this country. We're here expressing that. And so when we see ourselves as a small part, that's a part of the whole, that makes us part of a team. And that's what makes our country strong. That we're just one person doing their thing and not impeding on anybody else to do theirs. But that's what makes us whole. That's what makes us a country. And that's what makes us strong. The best things in the world we offer here in this country. And so don't allow anybody to impede you. Don't allow anybody to stop you on what you have been given, your God-given gifts, your God-given talents, your God-given freedoms that the veteran, and that's another thing to say. What a veteran wants to see is you doing what he or she has allowed you to do based on that sacrifice. When we cross seas, we see a whole different world than what we see in America. But we all want to get back here to the world. And when we get back here to the world, we want to see what we did across seas is affected right here. The freedoms that we fought for, the flag that we presented, the customs that we shared with other countries, and the respect we gave them comes right back to here to this country, that I get to see what I fought for. I get to see why I left home. I get to see why I left my family. I get to see why I left my friends. When I come back to America, to the country, and I get to see the things that you all are doing, the freedoms you all have, the Friday night football games, the basketball games, all the things that I get to go to and say, and we stand and we pledge allegiance to that flag at a basketball game and a football game, I get excited, because that's the reason why I was across seas. That's the reason why I was there, so that I can come back here and see you all get the freedoms you have, and the freedoms you have to come get an education, the freedom you have to get in it, and to be anything that these instructors teach you to do. That's exciting to them. That's exciting to us. And those are the things that make us want to make it back home. Those are the things that makes us get home. Those are the things that help us protect our buddies next to us and say, hey, let's get back home and enjoy some of those freedoms that we have been fighting for, some of those freedoms that we want to share. And so all these places that I've been to like 22 different countries. All these places I've been, they want to live as we live. All the places I've been appreciate the fact that we have a democracy. This thing, this experiment that we call democracy, that continues to evolve and continues to grow. And we get to share some of that experience of democracy with other countries. But when we come back here, we get to see democracy at work. Just a few days ago, we saw democracy at work. That's what America is all about. That's what the veteran is fighting for. That's what the veteran craves for. That's what makes the veteran want to make it back home. We're not here. When we go to these other countries and we see dictators, we see tyrants, that's not America. When we come back here, we see democracy at work. And that's what makes us excited. Don't let no one rob you of your citizenship rights. No one rob you of your self-determination. In America, you determine your fate. In America, you determine how far you want to go, how high you want to go. You determine that. That is determined by you, not by some dictator and not by some tyrant. Our job, your job, is to make sure that happens. Our job, your job, is to make sure you do the things that your God-given rights have called you to do, that have equipped you to do, that has made you do. And you have these instructors here in cases like this, but you also have your parents, you have your relatives, you have your friends who are encouraging you to be the best that you can be, right? And so your destiny is in your hands. Your destiny is in your hands, because the sky is the limit on what we can achieve here. I was the program manager for funeral detail. And I'll never forget, I was doing one of the funerals for a fallen veteran, and the flag folding ceremony. Hopefully you'll get to see that this afternoon. Each fold of the flag, 13 folds of that flag, before it's presented to the family of the fallen soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine. has a meaning. And as we folded the flag, and I gave it to this widow, as I presented it to her, she said, now what do I do? And I leaned over and I whispered in her ear, live. Live for the things that this flag represents. Live for the things that your husband is part of this world for. Live for the things that you fought for. Live for the freedoms that he gave you by sacrificing his life for you. So that's my advice to you today. Live. Live for the things that this flag represents. Live for the freedoms that your veterans gave you. Live for the things that you call freedoms, that we call freedoms, that the world looks at and calls freedom. When you live for the things that you've been called to do, and you live for the freedoms that have been given to you, you're honoring the veteran every day, not just one day a year, but you're honoring the veteran every single day. You're honoring that flag every single day. That you live for the things that your God-given talents and that your freedom given to you by the sacrifices made for men and women for this country have given you the opportunity to do. When you live for those things, you give an honor to the veteran. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for what you've done. Thank you for this day. God bless you. God keep you.
I'd like to now introduce Mr. Matt Pollock.
Thank you. Good morning. I do want to touch on two things before I get started. One is on what Mr. Prevost just said. I had the privilege many, many years ago of standing near the Berlin Wall when it was still communist. And then 20 years later, I stood on the DMZ in Korea and looked toward a nation in the north that did not have the freedoms that we have. When you see those that are oppressed, that don't have what we have, that you have, that we have, you appreciate it a lot more. Thank you for those words. This morning, you've exercised some freedoms already. What a great way to start our day. A pledge to Almighty God, a pledge to the flag of the United States, and then for you to stand in allegiance to that flag. Thank you so much for taking just a few minutes out of your day to recognize veterans and to honor America today. I had the privilege of, I graduated in 1980, a long time ago. In May of 1980, and then in June of that year, I went into the United States Air Force and I served for 24 years, retiring in 2004, primarily as a security policeman. My stateside assignments were Kansas, Arkansas, Texas, New Mexico, California, Korea, and Germany. And it was such a privilege to serve. This weekend, I looked up some core values of our military services: Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force. And what I found is the code of conduct throughout those services are integrity, loyalty, commitment, energy, decisiveness, selflessness. These are the things that make up the military men and women of our armed forces. The Air Force, in the early 90s, decided it would do a mission statement, and then it would come up with 3 core values: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. If you look this up, you'll find that all of our services have similar values. In the Air Force, these top 3 values worked for me greatly in the military. But in my 20 years now of retirement, it's hard to believe this is my 21st Veterans Day, I've taken those core values and I've used those in my civilian assignments. I graduated in 2004. I served 2 years as an instructor for Air Force Junior Reserve Officers at Choctaw High School. And then I served 13 years as a children's pastor here in town at First Baptist Church. And then this December, I celebrate my 6th year as executive director here at the Reynolds Wellness Center. Those 3 values I've used in my civilian world as well as my military world. And I want to address those 3 things with you very briefly this morning. Integrity first. Many will tell you that integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching. I submit to you, ladies and gentlemen, it's doing the right thing because people are watching. Set the example. Let people see you doing the right thing, and they will follow suit. Integrity. When you shake someone's hand, do you mean it? Do you shake someone's hand from a sitting position, or do you stand and look that person in the eyes? When you say yes, do you mean yes? I have a motto at work, and it says, say yes as often as possible, so that when you say no, you'll have to mean it. Look for ways to say yes. Keep your promises. That's integrity. I have to tell a quick story. During COVID, when we shut down the Wellness Center, we owed 3,000 of our members their money for that month because we weren't open. One lady didn't get hers fast enough, didn't get her refund fast enough, and she accused me of ripping her off, and she did that on Facebook and attempted to trash me. Before I even found out about that, 30 to 40 people went to my rescue on Facebook. Talk to Matt Pollock. That's not the way we operate. Talk to him. He'll fix it. Just get to him, and he'll make good things happen. I later found out that the person that trashed me on Facebook, her insurance representative called her and said, hey, you need to apologize online. You need to apologize in person, or I'm going to cancel your insurance. Found out that her landlord told her the same thing. I'm not going to allow you to go on Facebook and trash people. I didn't ask them to do that for me. Why? Because I try to live my life with integrity so that those around about me would know that that's not the way I operate. That's not a testimony about me. It's a testimony about me trying to uphold integrity in my life. The second thing, integrity first, service before self. Do you put others ahead of yourself? When you're on a team and you're doing a team project, do you just do your share, or do you put the team first? Put service before self. I promise you, your reputation will live up to it if people recognize that you're going to go 110% and not just do your small effort. The last thing, integrity first, service before self, excellence in all you do. Do you do everything you do with an excellence? When you woke up this morning, were your clothes laid out, or did you have to look for them and just put on whatever you found? Did you have a plan to be here this morning? When you turned in your paperwork to your instructor, is it all crumpled up because that's the way it was in the car seat or on the floorboard? Or was it crisp, clean, neat, readable? Did you do it with excellence? Your reputation, I promise you, will outlast you. And will go into your children and your grandchildren if you do everything with excellence. I tell you this as a civilian now, that your military men and women who serve and who have served, I joined 15.2 million Americans as a veteran today. And I can't think of a prouder group of people. I can show you my text messages of folks from age 25 to 65. I share a common value with so many that I appreciate. And I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to recognize veterans today. And I implore you to do those things. Have integrity, put others ahead of yourself, and do everything you can with excellence. Thank you for letting me speak today. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. We will be having pancakes later. Please go to your classroom so we can get ready.